Hello and welcome to Daily Politics on Trust TV. On this program, we discuss issues around politics, policy and governance. I am Shafiu Suleiman. In Katsina, home state of Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari, all is not well with the ruling APC. From high-profile defections rocking the party to internal wranglings with far-reaching consequences on the chances of the party ahead of the 2023 general elections. Also, the heightened insecurity, worsening economic challenges, poverty, and what some describe as lack of administrative direction. The ruling APC appears to be going into the 2023 race with minimal chances, despite having the incumbency advantage. Joining us to discuss what the future holds for the party in the state, or for the APC in the state, and of course, the emerging political parties, is Honorable Babangida Ibrahim Mahuta. He is the member representing Malumfashi Kapur Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives. He's also the current senatorial candidate for the Katsina South, talking about the Funtua zone. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, but before we commence our discussions, we have to take a short break. Stay with us. Thank you very much for staying with us on Daily Politics. And today our talking point, especially on the first part of this show, is of course the crisis rocking the All Progressives Congress in Katsina State and the emerging political parties, and the chances ahead of 2023 elections. And just like I told you earlier on, we have in the studio Honorable Babangida Ibrahim Mahuta, a member representing Malumfashi Kapur Federal Constituency. Once again, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good, thank you.
Right. Just like I earlier introduced, Katsina is home state to President Muhammadu Buhari, the current president of Nigeria, who happens to be, come from the All Progressives Congress. Before now, you would say that almost the entire structure, if you like, and those elected officers in Katsina were actually of the APC. But then things started changing, and shortly we're beginning to see high-profile defection, including yours. You were with the party before you now switch, camp to the NNPP. What happened? Why did you decide to defect from the ruling party?
Actually, you see, politics is about the people. People join politics for different purposes.
Right.
We join politics to serve our people. And we're doing so, we have to appreciate the fact that the people have the say. Now, what makes up to pull out of the APC is lack of fairness. Because in every process, the process has to be transparent, the process has to be people-based, and that's the more reason why they said allow people to make their choice. But in a situation where the people, the leadership, that are supposed to ensure that the due process is followed, are the same people that want to ensure that the mandate of the people is not allowed. On Friday, when we were supposed to conduct our primaries, we were supposed to start the primary election around 10 a.m. But in my federal constituency, we could not start until 8:30 p.m. Why? Because all the delegates were taken hostage. All the delegates were taken hostage. We could not assess them up to 8:30 in the evening.
That's a serious allegation.
It's not a serious allegation.
Taking hostage.
Yeah, because if somebody that you cannot assess, we cannot assess them. And they are forcefully converged in a place. That is hostage taking. Because it's against their will. You hold people for 11 hours trying to force them to put somebody you want to against their own wish. That's taking hostage. Now, let me finish. Those people still insist that they should be allowed to exercise their choice. We started the primary election around 8:30 p.m. As at that time, every local government in Katsina State have concluded their primaries. Fortunately, or I can say unfortunately, we started first word, second thought, then there was a heavy rainstorm. So the primary could not continue. The election was rescheduled to Sunday. We said no problem. But unfortunately and surprisingly, an election that commenced on Friday with accredited list of delegates. Now you come back on Sunday with completely a new set of lists. So why did you get the lists? Because you have realized no matter what they did, they are going to lose the election. The committee that came in on Friday were replaced. They brought another set of committee to conduct the election with entirely a new list. We complained to them. This is all the assemblies that was accredited. This election has commenced on Friday. It was suspended. Under normal circumstances, all those delegates that were accredited should be allowed to vote.
So all of this was happening under the watch of the leadership of the party and perhaps the INEC officials who are also there to monitor the primaries.
You see, one thing you should note about INEC are observers. It is the party that conduct primaries. INEC are to observe the process.
That's right.
The authentication and otherwise of the list is the responsibility of the party. And because the government in power, they have their own interests. And unfortunately, the governor is from a constituency. In fact, he instigates all these things because he wants to make sure that somebody whom we contested 3 times lost the election, that they want to insist that he come on board.
So at what point did you fail out with the party? I mean, with the leadership or the leadership in the state? Because ideally, some would say, as a House of Representatives member, there should be a synergy between the elected representatives of the state and, of course, the executive arm, talking about the state government or the state governor. Was there some sort of acrimony between?
You see, you have to draw a line between administrative relationship as government and political relationship. We don't have much issues when it comes to the issue of governance. We change ideas, we talk to ourselves, we review things. But politically, we have never been on the same pitch. I've been in the House since 2011 during CPC. In 2015, the governor didn't support me. In fact, 4 of us contested for the election. Virtually all of us are from one local government. And the governor's local government and local government, initially there was a candidate, but later, a day before the primary, they asked them to withdraw. So that it gives advantage to the then, somebody who, the current senator, who after he lost the election was appointed the chief of staff of the governor.
So what was the basis of your disagreement, if you like, with the governor?
Well, actually, I can't see. Well, some people are attributing it because all this I hear say it depends on performance. You see, our concern is about the people. He was a former governor. We saw he was a former speaker representing the same constituency. I'm from the same constituency. Representing the same constituency, which means I took over after the person that took over after him. But to the best of my knowledge, I cannot say exactly what is the cause of the problems. But I think it has to do with somebody's potentials.
Okay. So in other words, he didn't support your emergence, and perhaps he has alternative candidate, if you like, or he had expected that someone emerged, not you. And when you emerge, some would say politicians, sometimes disagree to agree. At some point, once the elections are over, you come together and, of course, look at the differences and then move on. Why was it difficult, at that point to also reconcile and move on, especially in the interest of the people of the state?
It depends on our priorities. Our concern is about the people, but that's all their concern. That is the area of differences. Let me tell you one thing. I was a member of the APC since the creation of the APC. But if I tell you, you won't believe it. For 4 good years, or I can say for 7 years, I'm supposed to be the stakeholder, the leader of the stakeholders in our first Sidwa. But I don't have a single one person as a member of stakeholders committee of the local government. Out of the ESCOs, in fact, at a point, the ESCOs were advised, were directed, not even listen to me. I ran 4 years without the support of the ESCO of the local government.
So you've been in rebellion for...
It's not a rebellion.
Okay.
You see, it's not about rebellion. You see, when I left my job, I had a very good job. I worked 70 years in FRS. I voluntarily resigned and went and contested for local government chairmanship. And when I went to contest for that local government chairmanship, I entered ANPP. I didn't go to PDP. PDP was in power. If it's about the power, I would have joined the PDP. But because we want to set a precedence, we joined the opposition party to make sure that we bring a difference, because our people are our concern. As at that time, all of them were in PDP. We managed ourselves all along, up to the creation of CPC. That's when they started joining the APC after they have lost out with the PDP.
So you thought you should have been accorded that sort of place, prime place, because you were the original members of the party before the emergence of the...
No, you see, our concern is to allow the people to decide.
Okay.
That's our concern. Allow the process to take itself. Let the people decide who they want them to represent them. Let me tell you one thing about the parliament. You see, the longer you stay in the parliament, and the better for your constituency, and it's better for Nigeria. You see, assuming I was elected to come back in the House, I'm of the few potential people that are likely to become the speakers.
Okay.
If APC found the majority. And that's an area also that bothers them.
Okay, so they wouldn't, if I understand, in a way, they also want to stop you from, ascending to that political...
And I can assure you, and I can tell you, even at the national level, people are not happy with what happened in my constituency.
Okay. Now, looking at the fact that it is not just about you, a number of high-profile members of the APC in Katsina have defected, to other parties, either the PDP or the NMPP, as you said. Primarily, the senator representing Central, isn't it? Talking about
Daura,
talking about Babakaita, and subsequently Muhammad Patu, right? Patu Muhammad, who happens to be the nephew of the president, all left the party after the congresses,
There is also another person, Mani Bindawa, or Amina Ashuru. There's Armaya Abdul Kadir from Dusama Kulfi.
Right. So all of this happened, after the congresses. Some would say it's traditional with political parties to find out, each time there is a congress or convention thereabout, you find out that people who are aggrieved or who felt that they are, their interest has not been carried along, or what they expected was not the outcome. They always decide, or fall apart with their respective parties and then defect, to other parties. Is it what happened in your own case in Katsina? Or originally there has been issues around your relationship with the governor?
Let me tell you, in all instances, both with Ahmed Babaketa, both with Patu, Aminu Ashurumani, Armayau, Senator Babaketa left before the congresses. He left the party before the congresses. Because, during the process of, before the primary, during the process of congresses, as a sitting senator, he was denied one single member as an ESCO in his local government. I was a member of Congress committee. At a point, we are running through the list of stakeholders of Katsina State. I noticed his name is missing.
As a senator, a serving senator, you know, and coming from the president's constituency.
I said, what is the definition of stakeholders? Let's go back to the constitution of the party. How can you remove a certain senator from the stakeholders list? Let me tell you, before Ahmed Papa defected to PDP, in fact, they don't even call him for stakeholders meeting. So I told them, I said, how can a certain senator be excluded as a member of the stakeholder of the state? I said, it's not possible. That time I was representing National Assembly in the committee. I said, we're not allowed.
So who are those, you know, holding the party to ransom, if you like, or hijacking the party and its structure, and what do they intend to, what were they looking for?
You see, it's not about them. You see, when there is a problem, it's about the leadership. It's about it's about the leadership. Then who is the number one leader? All responsibilities is on him, because he owes a duty to ensure that the right things are done.
Right.
He has a duty to ensure that right things are done. Due process are followed. But unfortunately,
that is as a leader of the party.
No, as a leader, yeah, naturally as a leader of the party, as a leader of the state.
That's right.
The governor of a state is the leader of the party.
Right. Yeah, but that's you know, the way the structure is, you know, politically. I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, we have to take a break. When we return, we'll also be looking at, you know, whether you have actually exploited internal mechanisms, you know, to address some of these issues you raised, or you decided, I mean, whether you lost confidence in all of the structures to remedy the situation. In case you're just joining us, the program is Daily Politics, and right now we're looking at the APC crisis in Katsina State. And of course, I've been interfacing with House of Representatives member representing Malam Fashika from Federal Constituency, talking about Honorable Babangida Ibrahim Mahuta. We'll take a short break. When we return, the conversation continues. Stay with us. Thank you very much for staying with us on Daily Politics. And today, on this first part of the show, we're looking at the APC crisis in Katsina State, which has resulted in, you know, high-profile defections of its members, including Honorable Babangida Ibrahim Mahuta, a member representing Malumfashi Kapur Federal Constituency. And together we'll be looking at the genesis of this crisis and why they are where they are at the moment politically. We're talking about, the challenges and what happened, what led to the defection, not just only you, and then other critical stakeholders in the party, including Senator Baba Keita. Yes, some would say, in internal party crisis like this, there's always a mechanism to address a problem at the state level and perhaps even at the national level. Have you explored, if you like, all these avenues before you take the final decision to defect from the party?
Well, you see, like I said, I've been in the opposition for a very long time. I was elected into the House 3 times. And I ran through 2 elections with the same issue. Now, you see, assuming the national party rely on the state chapter to provide information for them.
Right.
Rely on the states. And as you're aware, most of the governors, not only in Katsina, in most of the states, decide and dictate what happened in their party. Now, if a list of delegates that was accredited on Friday with a committee that have the responsibility to conduct the election, the list was replaced, the committee was replaced. Now, if you said you want to explore internal mechanism, how? Because you have to do it through the party. And the party and the government are one and the same people. And when you realize that from day one, for a very long time, it is not about the people. Our concern is allow the people. Let us lose the election, but let the people decide for us.
Okay.
That we don't want you anymore.
Yeah, but beyond the internal party mechanism, if you like, I understand at some point also the party at the national level, constituted a committee which was headed by the now national chairman of the party, Senator Abdullah Adamu. And I'm sure they've gone around the country, some states where there are issues. I don't know if they actually visited Katsina, and what was the intervention?
What you see in Katsina, like you said, is the stand of the president. We try and make sure that there were no issues in Katsina. We manage ourselves. So the time when the current chairman was chairing a reconciliation committee, Katsina has no visible crisis.
So you are managing the crisis.
We are managing the crisis
within,
just to make sure that we tolerate ourselves
until it explodes.
Until some people escalated it to the point that it becomes exposed.
And which is too late, at that point.
Well, it's very late because it's about the people. But what they're after is, let me give you an example. Somebody that was in the House for 12 years, somebody that is marked as likely to be the potential speaker of the 10th Assembly. You are now replacing him with somebody just because of your personal interests. So what do you expect? I was speaking with the speaker. We lost 178 members. Sitting members now, already 178 are not returned to the House. So what type of parliament do you expect in the 10th Assembly? So everybody is worried and concerned about the caliber and the capacity of the parliament that will constitute the 10th Assembly.
Okay, now still talking about, because President Muhammadu Buhari, some would say, should be interested in what is happening in his home state, the APC. Is a father of all, in the party, and looking at also the importance of Katsina State in terms of the voting strength, of the APC. Katsina, Kano, Kaduna, I think constituted, the significant percentage of the voting population, of the voting strength of the APC. And with all this crisis happening within the party in Katsina that led to these, mass defections, what are the chances of the APC in Katsina State as we head towards the 2023 election?
Do you want me to be very honest with you? I think there are 3 candidates or more than 3 candidates and other parties. But the chances you can put it at 30%.
30%?
Yes.
That is, we are not even talking about average now, below average.
Yeah, average is, you see, you talk about average when 2 people are contesting. We have more than 3 people contesting. So it can, because they are ruling party and whatever, we're giving them 30%. And that 30% may not be the winning percentage.
You mean in spite of the incumbency?
It doesn't matter. They have already lost out. What is the definition of incumbency?
Of course, they're in control of this, if you like, the apparatus.
They are in control of finances. We are in control of the people.
Yeah.
Yeah. They control the finances of the state, but we control the people.
And so, you think they'll sit back and watch?
Is this not February? Let's wait till 15th of February and see what will happen.
Yeah, but we're talking about 2 political parties here that are emerging, the PDP and the NNPP. Are you considering perhaps coming together to dislodge?
It's not about coming together. Okay, let me tell you how most of this, 70% of the faction in NNPP is from the APC. So which means APC is mostly affected by the factions. But Baketa moved from PDP to the PDP and is a senatorial candidate. And which means we have Daura senatorial, we have Katsina Emirate, we have Daura Emirate. In Daura Emirate, they have 5 local governments. In Katsina Emirate, they have 7 local governments. Ahmed Baba is from Katsina Emirate. The 5 local governments in Daura Emirate, already Patuhu, who is controlling 3 local governments, is already out. So already there's a question mark even within Daura Emirate. They have to work hard to even win Daura Emirate. And if you go to Katsina Emirate, if you do the analysis, their candidates, APC candidate, government candidate is from Charanchi. And Charanchi is Katsina Central.
But then, apart from PDP, which has been on the saddle, at some point, NNPP is relatively a new political party, in Katsina. How do you think, those of you who have defected to the party will be able to mobilize the people? I mean, looking at the time frame, we're talking about less than 8 precisely, or 9 months to election. How would you mobilize the people to even understand the political party in the first place, and then give you the necessary support you expected?
Well, NNPP is a new party, but you should note that currently we have 4 sitting members in the parliament. 4 sitting members. And if you allow us only with our local governments, Balamfashi Kafur, Dus Amakulfi, Mani Bindawa, and Daura Sandaumi Adwa, we're talking about 10 local governments already out of 34 that we have control. Apart from other factors that comes into play, the contribution of other members of the NNPP. So NNPP is a new party in Katsina, but the members of the NNPP are not new in Katsina. And we cannot come out on television and start telling the strategies we are going to use to make sure we dislodge them. But I can assure you, go and write it. There is no way NNPP will have less than 7 members in the National Assembly. Put it there.
Well, but then I was talking about, beyond, yes, you have your calculations and what have you, but we are looking at the electorate. Again, let's look at even one critical issue, talking about the insecurity, the level of insecurity in Katsina, which has, led to the displacement of several communities. Some local governments, are badly hit, by this banditry and what have you. How do you think, with all of this, people will even come out for the election in the first place?
Well, honestly, as it is today, we have about more than 14 local governments in Katsina. That initially there are about 14 frontline security challenges local government, and initially the number increased. I saw it in the media about close to 18 to 20 local government are affected. You see, issue of democracy, it depends. Politics, they say, is local. Right. So it's the responsibility of the local leadership to ensure that people are mobilized to come and vote. And those people are talking about, you cannot determine whether they are PDP, APC, NNPP, Those people that are affected by these security challenges are members of all the political parties. And it is the responsibility of government to ensure that before the election, adequate security is provided in all those areas. But where the situation has not improved or is not improved, then it is the responsibility of our government and the INEC itself to decide whether that election is possible or otherwise.
Now, are you satisfied or are you confident with the level of renewed vigor, in fighting this criminality, the banditry, and what have you? In recent time, there has been some substantial progress made by security agencies in some states like Kaduna, Niger, perhaps Zamfara. What is the situation in Katsina with regards to the ability of the security agencies to deal with the situation?
Well, to be honest with you, all the security agencies across the country are trying their best. They are trying their best. We just find ourselves in the situation where it requires all hands to be on deck. It requires a lot of prayers. Everybody is supposed to be involved. The people, the traditional rulers, the security agencies, and the government executives. We have to put our head together and make sure that this thing is stopped. It's not about politics. It's about ourselves. If we are not careful, this insecurity can consume everybody. But like I said, government is trying its best. I will continue to support the government to ensure that this thing is stopped. Even for one reason, to make sure that people go about their livelihood. Look at people, a lot of people cannot even go to the farm. A lot of people cannot freely conduct their businesses because you can't even work freely. Once it is 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, you have to stay wherever you are. A lot of people are moving from the neighboring villages to the local government headquarters.
Okay, we'll talk about more of that. Beyond security, there has been also concerns around governance, performance, if you like, or otherwise. The trajectory is that, okay, there is also rising level of poverty, performance of government is also in question and what have you. We'll look at that, but we have to now go to Zamfara. We'll soon do that. Just like I said earlier on, we'll also be going to Zamfara State to look at the recent developments, especially with regards to a new law which prescribes death penalties. Still talking about insecurity, for instance. Now, looking at the current administration, because it's another indicator as to whether it will retain the seat or not. That is issue of performance. How has the state government performed, in the last 7 years? Is it enough to give it the victory it requires, or what do you think about the development indices?
Well, you see, honestly, it's very difficult to assess the performance of the current government in Katsina. Because if you want to assess a government, you assess it sector by sector. If you go to education, you ask yourself, is there any substantial improvement in education? Maybe in the quality of our students in WAEC, in GCE, the number of enrollments from Katsina State in Nigerian universities, and et cetera, et cetera. You go to the health sector, you go to the agri sector, honestly, I cannot say precisely if there's anything to point at. Even in infrastructural development, I can't see anything very visible because you compare current government with the previous government.
But this is your previous political party.
Yeah,
is it because you've defected?
It's not about defection, it's about saying the truth.
So you can say these things you are saying.
I can say it anywhere.
3 months ago.
Wallahi, I can say it anywhere.
Okay. Okay.
I can say it because you see, you asked me a question.
Yeah.
I say I don't have the data. I don't have the information. But visibly what you can see.
The reality on ground.
I'm representing a constituency. I'm supposed to see the presence of the state government within my constituency. They have attempted to, they have constructed some road networks. That's very visible in some areas. But the question is whether those road networks are enough or adequate or otherwise. And if I look at my two local governments, honestly, I cannot pinpoint out any physical structure so I can call it from the state government that I can see. If there's any programs they are running that is invisible, that I'm not part of the government and I cannot see it. But we talk about physical structure or programs.
Right.
I can't see any.
Okay, let's go to Zamfara now. Where authorities in the state, which is now the epicenter of Nigeria's banditry activities, have in the last couple of months engaged in radical and pragmatic approaches to deal with the prevailing security issue, which has almost brought the state to its knees. From arming the citizens to face the rampaging bandits to the signing of a death sentence law against banditry, kidnapping, cattle rustling, cultism, and those serving as bandits' informant in the state. This is in addition to the ban on riding of motorcycles in the state capital, Gusau, from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. To cap it up, the state governor has also directed a shoot-aside order on anyone found violating the new order. It is against this backdrop we'll be joining the Commissioner of Information in the state, Ibrahim Dosa. Alhaji Ibrahim Dosara. If you can hear me, Honorable Commissioner, okay, we're actually looking at the recent developments. Before now, there has been these concerns around the state government arming, if you like, or allowing citizens to take up arms against these marauding bandits. And now you are coming up with other tougher measures, including death penalty. Why are you taking these drastic measures? As the efforts to address the insecurity is getting intensified.
Well, good evening, my brother, and good evening, my viewers. The current measures being taken by the government of the state is to demonstrate the commitment and the concern of the state government in dealing with the issue of banditry and other criminal activities in the state. First of all, like you said, we announced to the world that we are going to allow our people to acquire legitimate arms with which to defend against the bandits, and to further advance the cause of ensuring the government also come up with other measures. One of them, which is very crucial, is the issue of death penalty. The death penalty is on people who either killing in the name of banditry, people who kidnap, people who engage in cattle wrestling, and their collaborators are also being considered by the law and executive order signed by Governor Dr. Bello Mohammed Matawallah. All these things, like I said, the state government is making to ensure that the security of lives and property, which is the primary responsibility of any government anywhere, is. And recently mentioned there was an expanded state security council meeting. It invited including traditional rulers or the emirs within emirates in the state. We also invited all the sole administrators in the 14 local government areas of the state, invite key stakeholders, including heads of security agencies in the state, and discuss. And first of all, the general situation of the state. And secondly, we looked into reports from various emirates and local governments where we have challenges. So examine have related peace, and at the end of it, the State Expanded Security Council meeting resolved yes, particularly at the outskirts of the state capital, Gusau, where some areas were facing serious problems in terms of criminality being by their collaborators. And the council decided from 8 o'clock to 6 in the morning, there shouldn't be any movement of motorcycle because those criminals using the motorcycles based on the reports to commit heinous acts. And we, this decision to say that nobody should, and not only restrict, we also decided that anybody who is for checking security agencies and refuse to stop, that is an indication, is one of those.
Okay, we'll come back to you, Honorable Ibrahim Dosara, as we try to get the network, conform, rather. But then, back in the studio, let me get your view, because Katsina also shares similar experience. I mean, is facing the same challenge of banditry and kidnapping. In fact, it's a neighbor to Zamfara. What happened to Katsina happened to Zamfara, so to speak. What do you think, taking such a drastic measure as death penalty would deter, these criminals and of course their collaborators? Would you be suggesting same to be adopted in Katsina? Because some say there's need for synergy among the states in dealing with this situation.
Well, you see, the last time when there was a lot of pressure on the bandits from Zamfara, most of them moved to Katsina. And like you said, Katsina and Zamfara are sharing the same border. But you see, responsibility of protecting the citizens is on government. And all the security agencies in Nigeria are directly under the federal government of Nigeria. And I believe, apart from the death penalty, I think whoever is involved in this kind of thing is supposed to also share the same fate as the victims who suffer through the same process. But I think in addition to death penalty as an alternative, I think we need to sit down, invite the relevant security experts, review the security situations, and see that the best thing that can be done has been done, and without any positive response.
Okay. Yeah, looking at one of the measures taken by Zamfara State, talking about the ban on motorcycle operation, Katsina State at some point also took such measure. But the concern is, looking at Nigerians always look at the impact, what impact has that made? And also, how is it going to affect the livelihoods of the people? I don't know if we're to look at the measure taken in Katsina, that is the operation, the ban on the motorcycle operators. Has it make any difference?
Well, you see, the essence of banning the motorcycle operators is to exercise a level of control. Because if you said, okay, no motorcycle will operate, possibly like in Katsina, it's from 10 till morning. Maybe I think it's 6 o'clock in the morning. You see, the assumption is that whoever is engaging into any trade or activity or businesses must have closed down by 10 p.m. And most of these activities mostly happen after 10 p.m. in most cases.
Yeah. Even though there could be emergencies. But let me get Ibrahim Dosara to talk about how they're going to manage the aftermath, or if you like, as they implement this law. Ali Ibrahim Dosara, before now, there have been other critical measures taken in Zamfara, especially like the ban, I mean, the shutdown of the network, telecom network, which has affected people severely. And now that you are considering, if you like, or you are implementing the ban on motorcycle operation, have you also put into consideration how it's going to affect the livelihoods of the people?
Well, I want you to understand, along with our viewers, that the ban of the movement or restrictions of the movement is like 8 p.m. to 6 in the morning, and it is only affecting certain areas. That is, there's an area. There is an area called Barakallahu. There is an area called Tsunami. There is an area called Janyo East. There is also another area that is called Amaru. The where the criminals are hiding and they use the crimes against man. This is why we that within the period the crimes are being committed with motorcycles, the restrictions is enforced. And we said there will be shoot at sight for anybody who is stopped to check security, refuse to stop. He should be shot at sight. I mean, should be shot at sight so that, I mean, it is an indication, his refusal is an indication that he is one of committing such crimes and he should be uh, by the security agent. And not
Now,
only
you
that,
know,
we
that
also
some would say
impose
that is quite controversial.
other
Controversial in the
measures.
sense that where does the state government, if you like, derives the the, 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 the the constitutional right, if you like, or the right to carry out such a measure as to shoot aside, ordering a shoot aside uh, on you know suspects, so to speak. You know, you're to determine. You talked about stopping someone and he fails to stop, and then he's directed to be shoot aside. Are you looking at all of this, or can you tell us precisely where the state government derives this legitimacy, if you like, or constitutional right to do that?
Don't forget, we told you before we came up with these measures, it's signed executive orders and also made laws from the State House of Assembly. If you could recall, he signed a bill submitted to him by the House of Assembly, who signed for the execution of against the people. So I don't think it is illegitimate because it has been backed up law which was passed by the state assembly and signed or into by the state governor. And we also, in addition, into the what we call executive. We protect the life and of people and their property. During the shutdown period, which we're talking about, made was that shutdown period where the capacity, the ability of the bandits to attack people much in mass that was curtailed and only to be mainly nothing people.
Okay. Right.
People have been following. That has helped a lot
Okay.
in reducing the strength and capacity of bandits to stop attacking people
Right.
in various, but rather kidnap people asking for money. So,
Right. Okay. Thank you very much, Honorable Ibrahim Dosara. Some would say, desperate situation require desperate measures. The fact that you're talking about the impact, this measures are making in tackling the problem, we really appreciate your perspectives on the platform, in spite of the network challenge that we've been facing. Thank you very much for talking to us. Right, okay, back to the studio. Let me get your last line very quickly with regards to the crisis in the APC in Katsina State and whether there could be a solution to it. Very quickly.
Well, the only solution, the damage has already been done. It's now left for APC as a political party to go around and converse for support from the people. It's now left for people to decide whether to support APC or not support APC. And one thing I want you to note is that
very quickly, yes.
If you look at the APC as it's constituted presently now, 80 to 90% of the present APC members were former members of the PDP. So the movement of one political party, one member of political party to other political
It's
party
normal.
is normal. It depends on the interest.
Okay, that cap it up. Politics is about interests. It's about say politics is all local. Thank you very much, Honorable Babangida Ibrahim Mahuta, a member representing Malumpashika for Federal Constituency and a senator, a senatorial candidate of the NMPP in Southern Katsina South, right? That's Funtua Zone. Thank you very much for talking to us on Daily Politics.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, on behalf of our guests in the studio and virtual, this is where we come to the end of Daily Politics today. I do hope you had a very wonderful time, being with us. We appreciate you being there, and of course, we also hope to do this tomorrow, God's willing. Until then, on behalf of the technical crew, my name is Shafiu Suleiman. Have yourself a very wonderful evening ahead.